With September being just 2 weeks away, there is something that every crypto investor needs to be aware of. That is, in Bitcoin's post-halving year, every 4 years, there is a significant crash in September. And so the big question is, will history repeat? And so in this video, we'll be digging in and seeing exactly what has happened in the past. When did the crash actually begin? How much does it crash by? And also, how long does the crash last? And then from all of this, we can make a plan to tackle this big potential crash event. Okay, so first up, let's jump in and take a look at what exactly I'm talking about and why there could be a massive crash in September. Okay, so we are jumping in with Bitcoin's monthly seasonal returns. And what we're talking about is Bitcoin's post-halving year. So the post-halving year is the big blow off top that happens every 4 years. And this was in 2013, then again 2017, 2021, and now again in 2025. And as you can see, we've got the average for each month and the median. So we can see we've got plus, 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 plus. Sometimes we have a negative, a minus. However, the only month for Bitcoin that is a double negative, and that is September. So from a seasonality point of view, September is the worst month. And as you can see in the post-halving years, we see green, green, and then it's a bad correction month. Green, green, bad correction month. Green, green, bad correction month. Now, we've been on quite a good run for Bitcoin. What's that? 5 green months in a row. And so if we get a good run up at the end of August, then chances are history says that September is going to be a down correction month. Now, we're going to dig into each one into a minute, because if you just look at this, it could be misleading. It could say that all of September is bad, but I'm going to show you that that isn't the case. So from a high level, it looks like the entire month is bad, but we'll look at why this is not true in a second. However, also, we need to point out that it's not just crypto that has a bad month in September. So this is the same again, but for the S&P 500, so the big general stock market. And as you can see, here's the average of all the months throughout the year. And what do we see? September is the worst month for the entire year. And this is a good 15 years worth of data. So lots of red coming into Redtember. So not just crypto that looks like it will struggle next month, but also stocks as well. Just bear that in mind. Now let's dig into each of crypto's blow off top years to get more data, more accurate data, and we'll see why it's not the whole of September that's the problem. So we're jumping back. This is just Bitcoin USD on the daily, but we've jumped back all the way to the end of August 2013. So what do we notice? Well, that August would be a very strong month. And in fact, there's a big run up to the end of the month. And this time it topped out not in September, but the last day of the month. So this was a Saturday and it was 31st of August. Now, second point is that if we just take it from the top and we see pretty much, let's just take the bottom from here. So this was a nice 15% drop and it lasted about 9 days. So between 1 and 2 weeks. And then literally from the 9th of September, it was actually going back up. So if you buy in the 9th of September, the rest of the month you would have been positive. So it's not the whole month. Now, in this cycle, it looks like there was a bit of an anomaly. I don't exactly know what happened 2nd of October, but there was a major flash crash, which was pretty much over in a matter of a couple of days. So it looks to be a bit of an anomaly, so I personally wouldn't count this. And in fact, once we go back 15 years, this is probably the weakest data of the three. However, those were the key points. Now we jump in, and this time going back to 2017, and again we can see August was a very good month, a nice big pullback, but again there's a big run up to the end of the month, and this time it topped out the 2nd of September. So again, right to the end of the month, and again this one was a Saturday. And if we take the measured move from here and bottomed out here, so this time it was a very nasty 40% drop for Bitcoin, and again it lasted 13 days, so pretty much 2 weeks. And it's not all of September. In fact, the second half of September was very, very good if you managed to escape this drop. Buying here, which is only mid-month, the second half of September is actually really, really good. And obviously, if you just held on, by the time you'd got to mid-October, it's back to setting new all-time highs anyway. But again, we had a nice run up to the end of the month. We did get a very nasty correction, and it was lasting 2 weeks. And then finally, in 2021, what do we see? Well, again, August is a very good month. Yes, there are corrections and going down and sideways, a big sideways consolidation going down here. But this time it did run a little bit later. It topped out on the 7th. So this is Tuesday the 7th, so a little bit later. And going from the top here and marking the bottom here, this time the correction was a nice healthy 25%, and again lasting exactly 2 weeks. So again, it's not all of September. So again, there's a massive run up into a very healthy crash, this time bottoming the 3rd week of September. So again, it's a 2-week period, but this time starting 1 week in, going into week 3. So as you can see, just a little bit spooky that every 4 years there seems to be this kind of pattern. And for me, if there is a significant run up to the end of the month, it's quite likely that I'll be coming 100% out of the crypto market and coming back in week 2 or week 3. And interestingly enough, what do we see? We've got the first week of September, second week of September. There is the next big Fed meeting on the 17th, where as it stands, this could be the big pivot where the Fed begins lowering interest rates. So very interesting that it seems to be lining up with a very important date here. So probably if I do end up selling, buying back in around this period here. Every 4 years, like clockwork, the crypto market has seen a significant crash in September. The key details were, in 2013, it topped on a Saturday the 31st. It dropped 15%, lasting 2 weeks. In 2017, it topped on Saturday the 2nd, dropping 40%, also lasting 2 weeks. And in 2021, it went all the way to the 7th, dropping 25%, also lasting 2 weeks. And so, key point, notice that it's not all of September that is bad. It's just 2 nasty, bloody weeks, averaging about 30% down. And if Bitcoin goes down 20 to 30%, what do you think is going to happen to the altcoins? Potentially 30 to 50%, and that's not nice. Now, for me personally, if we get a significant run up to the end of the month, then I'll likely be coming 100% out for at least 2 to 3 weeks. playing defensive to around the 17th. And strangely enough, this also falls on the day of the next big Fed meeting. And would this be the big Fed pivot marking the actual bottom? So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Now, as always, this is not financial advice. This is just what's happened in the past. And for me, I'll be playing defensive, as this could be my last 3 months after investing for 8 years for this market cycle. And I personally just don't want to risk a 50% downside. Hashtag playing defensive. If you do have any burning questions that you must get answered, then simply use super thanks below. However, just remember, to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots that plague YouTube comments, we are trying out the new SuperThanks Commenting system. So to get your question or comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use super thanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.